Joint ventures and badge engineering are nothing new for Toyota. It dials all the way back to their collaborations with Yamaha in the 80s. We saw it with the BRZ and the Toyota 86. And now we're going to get it with Suzuki. And they're making no bones about it because the new Toyota Starlet, yes, is based on a Suzuki Baleno. The Suzuki Baleno is built in India, and so is this Toyota Starlet, alongside one another. And there's very little to actually differentiate the two. You're going to get a slightly different grille, you're going to get a different design bumper, and there's a few little trims on the inside that make it a little bit different. Underneath the hood, you're going to get a 1.4 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It's going to make 68 kilowatts and 130 Newton meters of torque, and that means that this will rocket. Wait, rocket's the wrong word. This will go from 0 to 100 in 10.9 seconds, so it's not going to set your hair on fire, but it's perfectly ample. It's also going to return fuel consumption figures of about 5.1 litres per 100, and we've tested this and it's pretty accurate. So if we move around to the back of the vehicle, we're going to see the Starlet's got this nice tasty little wing on the back and this chrome strip here. If we open up, we're going to see the little telltale camera that feeds a signal to the infotainment system up front. Now, boot space is relatively generous at 345 litres, but it's this high sill that concerns me. It's rather deep in here, and that means that you're going to have to load things in and out, and that sort of weight, well, it's not the easiest to load, let's put it that way. That said, you do have 60-40 split folding rear seats, and that's going to give you some additional space. So, what's it like on the inside? The interior of the new Toyota Starlet is rather agreeable. It's also rather familiar. Generous use of plastics here, but they seem to be relatively hard wearing. I do have a few questions about the grey pieces though, and time will tell there. But gear lever feels good. We've got some leather bound around the gaiter and around the steering wheel, and the switchgear, well, still being very Suzuki, and I know I'm constantly referring to it, but this may dishearten a few Toyota diehards. Well, they're not going to like all of the switchgear. It is pretty well spec'd though, because you get a lovely TFT screen in front there, and a lovely touchscreen infotainment system here that also has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The one downside is there's no physical volume knob, and you have to operate that from the steering wheel, and these controls are a little bit on the slow side. But this is a very generous area. It feels very spacious in here, it feels very grown up. It goes up against the likes of the Ford Fiesta and the Volkswagen Polo, and this feels considerably larger. I like the little Starlet, and it drives really well. It's a wonderful little companion, and I think that for 263,700 Rand, it's a great buy.